Hi guys, my name is Lee Miller. I'm running for the State House District 68 as a Libertarian. And one day I will get this open for my speech. I'd first like to thank all of you for coming out today in support of this historic measure. I'd like to thank my fellow speakers for their commitment to this issue. And finally, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event for this opportunity. I consider it a great honor to stand before you today in support of this expansion of liberty. I've made some assumptions about the people in attendance today that I think in full disclosure I should share with you. My first assumption is that you're voting yes tomorrow. Am I right? Yeah? My second assumption is that you, for some reason, you have a reason that you're voting yes tomorrow. For some of you, perhaps it's a relative or a friend, or simply a story of someone that you heard who would or could benefit from medical cannabis. For others, perhaps it's your own life experiences that have brought you to this point. And I know for myself, it's a little bit of both. I'm a licensed therapist, and for a little while I worked with people who are in the drug or mental health courts. Many of these people struggled with both an addiction as well as a mental health issue. As I worked with my clients, I began to wonder, why would alcohol be legal and these other substances illegal if they both can cause so much damage to my client and their life? After educating myself on the subject, though, I look back and wonder how many of them were there simply for owning a plant and not for actually hurting someone else. A year ago, about this time, literally, it was a challenging time in our family as my wife was having several health problems and no one could figure it out. I believe out of sheer desperation, her doctor decided to test my wife for everything she could, even if she was pretty sure my wife didn't have it. Stuff like Lyme disease, West Nile, even malaria, some things that her symptoms had little relation to. But I'm glad that the doctor did this because my wife had to take the test to determine if she had epilepsy, and it turned out she did. Living her whole life without this diagnosis, my wife looks back and thinks this explains some weird situations from her childhood and early adult life. Because of this diagnosis, my wife must take these 2 pills every day. And to our benefit, her health has improved tremendously. But there is that thing in the back of my wife's mind, what about all the possible side effects of the pills that she's taking? One of which, frankly, is just straight up sudden death. While we have no idea if it would be able to replace the medication or help with her specific epilepsy, my wife would like that option in the future. As my wife recently put it, voting yes to state question 788 may be the answer for someone like me, or could be the answer you need, and didn't even know. I say this because I got my diagnosis out of the blue, and you never know who is next. It may even be you. My third assumption is that you've arrived at your decision today, maybe from various points of view. Perhaps you've decided that if someone is not harming themselves or harming someone else or their stuff, they should be able to use medical cannabis. Well, this should be the first question when determining the legality of something. It's the one so often ignored by the other 2 parties. Every law should begin with the question, does this action directly harm someone or their stuff? Perhaps you've decided that what someone puts into their own body is their own choice. This is one of the most basic of property rights. You own yourself. You own your time and the efforts of your time. No one can own you. No one else can tell you what you can or can't put in, do to, or do with your own body, time, or the effort of your labor. Perhaps you've decided that no one should determine for someone else the type of medical treatment they choose for themselves. You might have determined that you can't know what is best for someone else, and you're comfortable with them making that choice just as you would hope they trust you. I've said many times on this campaign that I believe every American is at least half libertarian, because no one wants the government telling them what they can or cannot do. I tell you today that if you have arrived at the decision to vote yes on State Question 788 tomorrow for the reasons that I've outlined before, you might be a little more than half libertarian. The part that pushes you into being a full libertarian is your acknowledgement that for you to have complete liberty in this country, you must give complete liberty to your neighbor. I believe this is a distinctly American idea. The idea that we protect our own liberty by fighting for another person's liberty. Whether it be on the beaches of Normandy or the fields of Gettysburg, Americans have been dying for another's liberty for a really long time. While Americans will travel around the world fighting for another person's liberty, some won't fight for our neighbor that lives next door. As a Christian, I ask, how do I ensure that my religious liberties are preserved and not taken away? I'll tell you, by standing up for people of different religions, socioeconomic levels, genders, orientations, races, or creeds whenever their rights are challenged. Admittedly, America has not done its best all the time in enshrining liberty and justice for all. And I won't stand here and give excuses or reasons as to why that happened. However, I will take comfort in the words from the most popular libertarian document of all, which states that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I take comfort in these words not because they have already been fulfilled, but that we are closer to their fulfillment today than the day that they were written. Robert F. Kennedy put it this way: some men see things that are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. I know our political climate looks rough right now. People are cutting off long-held friendships because of who the other person voted for. People are encircling themselves with their own viewpoints and demonizing those who disagree with the slightest of deviations. The other two political parties appear to be entrenching themselves into their own corner, apparently unwilling to talk to one another. While it is so bad, people are befriending each other on Facebook. People cannot look at pictures of someone else's kitten because of who they voted for. I stand before you today in direct opposition to this political climate. I believe that there is more that unites us as Americans than divides us. Just look around you, like right now. See the people that you're standing next to. They probably don't look like you. You probably wouldn't agree on every issue. They didn't grow up in the same place or the same family as you, and you have both come from different families and backgrounds. And still you wound up here. You wound up here united behind one cause in spite of your differences in your background or religion, in spite of the differences in the size of your wallet or the neighborhood you live in. I'm asking you today, will you rise up above the current political climate and look around you to see where our liberty can be expanded? Where do our liberties need to be enshrined? I am that candidate. I don't care where we disagree. If you are moving us closer to that ideal outlined in the Declaration, I am your ally. Whether you live in District 68 or not, I will stand for liberty for each and every Oklahoman every single time. It's this liberty that truly brings us together. Because when liberty is enshrined for one, it's enshrined for us all. I can't do this alone, even though I will if that's what it takes. I need your time and your resources to win my election. Frankly, every candidate does. No one wins their race alone. So I ask you today, will you join me to ensure the liberty of you and of your neighbor? Vote for me, J. Lee Miller Jr. for Oklahoma House District 68 on November 6th. Because a vote for Lee is a vote for liberty. Check me out on Facebook, Lee for Liberty. Thanks.